The Sony a6400 was released back in 2019. That makes it 4 years old now. But is it still worth it in 2023? Let's talk. So I got my a6400 a little over 6 months ago and have been rigorously testing it and using it and hoping that I made the right call. But did I? Full disclosure, this video is not sponsored by Sony in any way. Let's move on. First of all, the body is pretty much the same as any other a6000 series camera. They have little differences, but basically when you've held one 6000 series Sony camera, you've held them all. So the small compact size combined with the fact that the camera is weather sealed makes it a perfect body for traveling. The ergonomics are pretty middle of the road, but that's always the case when you have a small compact camera. It comes with a little sacrifice in ergonomics. That being said, I still found them completely fine. I've had no issue with them. They could be better, but you can get a grip or a cage or a battery handle if you want to up the gripping surface area. In terms of buttons, the a6400 has its on-off switch at the front with the shutter and a custom button 1 right next to that one. Then it has your mode dial and your extra dial on the top. And on the back you have your flash button, your menu button, your autofocus AEL switch, as well as an AF on button, a function button, your navigation wheel and buttons, and your playback button, as well as your delete button. That delete button also actually works as your second custom button. The video record button, though, is this stupid little thing in the top right corner, top back right corner. It has been this way in most of the a6000 series cameras, and this is the stupidest invention that Sony has probably made. It is incredibly inconvenient, and I hate it. Luckily, the record button can be switched over to shutter recording, and that's what I recommend everyone to do. So this button can be forgotten like it always should have been. The screen on the back is a full-on flip-out screen and flip-up. So it is the old Sony type where it goes all the way up, which means you can still see yourself when you're recording, but the problem arises when you use anything in the Hotshoe mount that is actually going to be blocking the screen. Luckily, there are many different accessories from all sorts of price points that can get you around this issue, so I wouldn't say that it's a big deal. If you're interested in those, I'll link a couple in the description below. The screen is also touch sensitive, so it can be used for focusing or engaging tracking, but it is not a full-on touch screen, so you can't adjust any settings with it or navigate the menus. Speaking of the menu system is the same one as in something like the a7 III. So if you've always hated Sony systems, this isn't gonna be better for you. But for me, I don't mind the Sony system, and I came from the a6000, which has the even worse older one. So this is just an upgrade for me, and as soon as you just learn it, it's fine. For connectivity, the a6400 comes with a micro USB port, a micro HDMI port, and a mic in jack. So there is no headphone port, so if you really wanted one, then this camera is not for you. Though I've never saw the need for it, so it's all fine with me. It also does have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity that you can use for remote access and all that. Also, a good thing to know is that the micro USB port can be used to provide power to the camera while it's in use. So if you were worried about running out of battery, you can use external power. Speaking of the battery, the a6400 uses the classic NP-FW50 batteries, which are small, but they can still give you decent battery life. And by that, I mean around 360 shots when using the EVF and the display both, or in 4K 24 FPS, around 85 minutes of recording. But how does it fare in actual usage? Well, for photography, I would say it is a fantastic camera. The classic 24.2 megapixel sensor provides really, really good photos when paired with good glass. The camera's autofocus system is really fast, really smooth, and the hit rate is phenomenal. I've shot a lot with it, and I've never missed a shot thanks to that great autofocus system. It also shoots 11 frames per second when in burst mode, and the buffer can handle a whopping 53 raw photos until it slows down. So basically you can get 5 seconds of non-stop shooting for raw files until it slows down. That is a good buffer, and with that, it's hard to see how you would be able to miss that shot you're trying to get. I myself center mostly around product and portrait photography, but I've shot a lot of street and landscape and lifestyle with it as well, and the a6400 has had no problem dealing with anything I've thrown at it. Also, this is probably a given this price point, but it does have silent shooting, which means that you can use it for very candid photography as well. So weddings and all of that, no clicky sounds going off. So if you're wondering if the a6400 can be used for professional work, I can safely say that yes, you can. I've done it myself. So for photography, the camera can handle anything that you throw at it, provided you give it good lenses to do that with. But that rings true for a lot of cameras. How about the video side? Well, for video, the a6400 can shoot 4K, 24, 25, or 30 FPS. Or if you want really super slow-mo, it can go to 1080p, 120 FPS. Something to know about that 4K recording though is the fact that the 24 and 25 FPS versions are downsampled from 6K and feature no crop whatsoever. However, if you do use 4K 30, that comes at a 1.2 times crop and is not downsampled from 6K, it is just 4K. Just 4K. But the downsample footage and the normal footage look absolutely phenomenal, so I can't see anyone not being happy with the video that comes out of the a6400. The a6400 also comes with the ability to shoot in Sony's S.Log profiles as well as HLG profiles. Now it is still an 8-bit recording, but for me, I found that shooting log and then grading it myself gave me a much better video than just using standard profiles. But your results may vary. If you don't want to do that, you can still use standard profiles. In terms of overheating, which was extremely present in the Sony a6000 and a5100 and the other 6000 series cameras, it's pretty much all been fixed in the a6400. For me, I haven't been able to get it to overheat once, so I went to someone else to get their results for how the camera handles overheating. Now, Gerald Undones, when he did the review of this camera, did a very comprehensive testing for the overheating. And he found that when you have the temperature setting set to normal, the camera can do around 54 minutes of 4K 24 FPS recording before it shuts down from overheating. But if you up that temperature setting to high, well, in that case, he was able to go over 3 hours in the same conditions, and then he just ran out of space. So it can easily handle what you need. Just make sure that you up that setting, and you're gonna feel it getting really warm when you keep on going after that hour. But another thing to know about the video capabilities is the fact that since it is the same old APS-C Sony sensor, there is really, really prominent rolling shutter when you're making quick pans in the video, especially in 4K. So if you're waving your camera around like a madman, you're gonna notice a lot of jello in that video. For stabilization, the a6400 sadly has none. So if you're planning on getting the camera for vlogging, then you're going to want to get a gimbal or be prepared for very shaky footage. Here you can see a short example of me vlogging while holding the camera. And you can see that it is, in fact, very shaky. For me, however, I basically never vlog, so this hasn't been an issue for me. I mostly have it on a tripod, and when I do some product shots, I have other means of stabilizing the camera. So if the lack of stabilization sounds like an acceptable sacrifice for you, the a6400 will give you fantastic video quality, especially considering the price. But if you do want to do some action video or something with high movement afterwards, well, then you're going to have to dish out for a gimbal. But that is going to be extremely easy to get since the camera is so light that you can pretty much get away with the cheapest gimbal. Don't quote me on that, but basically you can. Another thing that is good to know is that there is a bug with the 4K recording when connected to an external monitor using the micro HDMI. If you're recording 4K and you have it connected to an external monitor with the HDMI, you lose face tracking. This has been there since the launch of the camera, so don't expect it to get fixed. That's annoying, I gotta say. So with all of that put together and the price of the a6400 being $900 for the body or $1,000 combined with the 16-50 kit lens, is it worth it in 2023? I would say that is a definite yes, but with an asterisk. Because if you are a photographer or a hybrid shooter for who the photography side is equally as important, then the a6400 is my go-to choice. That's why I picked it up. However, if you are getting the camera for mainly video usage, then I would definitely recommend the ZV-E10 over the a6400 because it is $200 cheaper and it offers a better suite of video tools. You can get a better, more in-depth comparison that I did by watching the video in the corner right now. I'll also link that in the description below. But just know that if you are a video forward shooter, then the ZV-E10 will be my recommendation over the a6400. For everyone else, this is my go-to. And if you're wondering how other brands stack up, I would say the main competitor to the a6400 is the Canon R50. And while it is a fantastic camera and it offers everything and more, it does still use the RF mount system. And those lenses are, well, the selection is pretty small and the lenses are extremely expensive. With the a6400 or the ZV-E10, you use the Sony's E-mount system, which is really stacked in terms of selection. And the prices reflect that. With all of that, if you want to check out the a6400 for yourself, I will leave a link in the description. Now, disclaimer, that will be an Amazon affiliate link, so using it will directly support the channel. So if you use it, thanks. But now I want to hear what you guys think. Have you used the a6400? Do you own it? Or have you thought about getting it? Let me know in the comments below and we can talk about everything in terms of cameras in there. Also, if you made it this far into the video, please leave a like on the video and consider subscribing since you obviously found this entertaining. But that is it for me. Have a great rest of your week and I will see you all next time. Okay? Bye-bye.